Hello, I'm AJ Jacobs, and I am the author of this, The Year of Living Constitutionally. And today we're going to be talking about amazing facts from the Constitution. So let's get started. Did I get it? A little tankard of grog. The Constitution was drafted in under 100 working days. It originally ran 4,543 words. In the 200 plus years since, we have added over 3,000 words. And some of those words were misspelled. I loved it. The word Pennsylvania was spelled 2 different ways. And it's only 4 pages. They were humans. They were very smart and very prescient humans, but they were humans, and humans make mistakes. What inspired you to want to live constitutionally? I was inspired because I wanted to try to understand our founding document by adopting the mindset and technology from 1789. Wear the tricorn and carry the musket. I had a musket that I carried around the Upper West Side of Manhattan to mixed reviews. I wrote the book with a quill pen. I quartered soldiers in my apartment. It was fascinating, and I feel I really got some insight into the Constitution and how we should interpret it today. The conditions at the Constitutional Convention were gross. It was a hot Philadelphia summer. The delegates kept the windows shut tight because they didn't want eavesdroppers. The men, many of them wearing wool clothing like this. It was really smoky because you had pipes. Everyone had a pipe, and they were communal pipes. So they were sharing pipes. If you're a germaphobe, you do not want to be in 1789. Colonial clothing, yay or nay? I'm gonna have to say nay. I think it looks cool. My family, would not walk within 50 yards of me, but I will say it is hard to put on. It is time consuming. I became grateful for many things during this year of living constitutionally. Big things like democracy, but also small things like elastic socks. I had to put on these socks every morning. No elastic. They were wool stockings. They fell down to my ankles. I had to put on tiny belts. I will never get those combined hours back in my life. The Constitution was physically written by Pennsylvania General Assembly Assistant Clerk Jacob Shallis, who was paid $30, around several $100s today, for lending his penmanship. Thank you, Jacob Shallis. What is the most important thing to keep in mind when writing with a quill? Yes, I wrote a lot of this book with a quill pen, and I loved it. First of all, it's very loud, so my wife didn't like it. But what I think is great about it is that you are completely offline. There are no dings or chimes. There's no pop-ups of baldness cures to distract you. It changed the way my mind worked. I feel that I was able to think more deeply and more subtly. I don't think everyone should adopt a quill, but just write offline. Founding Father Gouverneur Morris, who wrote the preamble to the Constitution, later passed away after performing surgery on his own penis with a piece of baleen, which is from a whale. I did actually know this fact. That penis of his was quite famous because he was a ladies' man. At one point, he lost his leg in a carriage accident. And another one of the founding fathers said that he wished it had been another appendage that had been cut off by the carriage. So there you go. They had dick jokes even then. What is one thing you're glad you did not have to do in your year of living constitutionally? The 8th Amendment says the government cannot do cruel or unusual punishment. The fascinating question is, what does that mean? Because when the Constitution was written, a lot of stuff that we consider cruel and unusual was just fine. For instance, the pillory. I decided maybe I'll just buy one. So I did buy one. It was shipped from France, but it was of course nothing like the original pillory, which was truly inhumane. I am thankful that cruel and unusual, that meaning has evolved over the years. Thanks to the Constitution, you can become a state-sanctioned pirate. Article 1, Section 8 allows the government to grant letters of marque. That is, to grant people permission to become privateers. Such a license would allow you to capture, steal, or spy on ships of America's foreign enemies. This is one of the wildest parts of the Constitution to me. Maybe I should try to become a pirate. So I actually applied to Congress for a letter of marque. I met with a congressman from California. Now, there hasn't been a letter of marque granted since 1815, but it's still on the books. It's still right there in the Constitution. And I explained I would get my friend's water skiing boat, put some guns on it, and go out and try to capture enemy ships. And then he was a little more trepidatious. What, in your opinion, is the biggest misconception about the Constitution? I think people see it as either a great, perfect, sacred document, or as this horrible, flawed, elitist document written by 55 white men. It's all about the framing. And Frederick Douglass, before the Civil War, he said the way he looked at the Constitution was it was a promissory note, that it promised freedom and liberty and equality, and he wanted to make America live up to those promises. And that language has been used by Martin Luther King and Obama, and I find it a very inspiring way to look at the Constitution. It's aspirational, and we should try to live up to these ideals of equality and liberty that are in the Constitution. I'm AJ Jacobs, and if you want to learn more about the Constitution, you can pick up my book, The Year of Living Constitutionally, wherever books are sold. And this has been Amazing Facts with Mental Floss.